So Sri Swarup Damodar is an eternal associate and friend of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Previously, his name was Sri Purushottama Acharya. He lived in Navadip and he always stayed with Mahaprabhu. When Sriman Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he became half mad. He went to Varanasi and took sannyas from a sannyasi named Chaitanyananda, who ordered him to study Vedanta and teach it to the people in general. Sri Purushottama Acharya did not accept the dress of a sannyasi, but only gave up the sikha and sacred thread. His name became Swarup. After this, taking up the order of his sannyas guru, Sri Purushottama Acharya went to Jagannath Puri. And at that time, he again met with Sri Chaitanya. Chaitanya Charitamrita Lila 10.102 to 104 record this meeting as follows. One day, Swarup Damodar arrived. His mystic awareness of the Lord's inner purpose was deep and unfathomable. He was an ocean of rush. In his previous ashram, his name has been Purushottama Acharya. When he was in Navadvip, he had attained the Lord's lotus feet. But when he saw the sannyas of Sri Chaitanya, he went half mad. And so he went straight to Varanasi to take sannyas. In connection with Swarup Damodar, Srimad Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has written further as follows. Sri Swarup Damodar was the limit of scholarship. Still, he did not generally converse with anyone. He kept to himself. He liked to remain alone and did not see others. He was the very embodiment of Krishna Prem. He was like a second Mahaprabhu in the sense that he fully understood the Lord's conclusion on Krishna Tattva and Krishna Bhakti and could fully represent them. As such, whoever wanted to bring before the Lord a book, poem, or song would first bring it to Swarup Damodar, who would examine it before the Lord would hear it. The Lord did not delight in hearing literatures and song which was opposed to the conclusions of bhakti, or which contained rasabhas, conflicting devotional mellows. Therefore, Swarup Damodar would examine these things, and if he decided that they were pure, then he would arrange for the Lord to hear them. Swarup Damodar would sing for Sri Chaitanya the song of Vidyapati, Chandidas, and Gita Govind, and this gave the Lord much pleasure. Swarup Damodar could sing like a Gandharva, and he knew the scriptures like Bruhaspati, the guru of the gods. No one was a greater soul than he. He was most dear to Advaita and Nityananda, and the life and soul of the devotees headed by Srivas Thakur. In this way, it is said that Swarup Damodar was like a second form of Mahaprabhu. In song, he was like a Gandharva, and in scripture, he was like Bruhaspati. Swarup Damodar was very expert in music as well as Vedic scriptures. Sri Chaitanya used to call him Damodar because of his expert singing and musical skills. The name Damodar was given by Sri Chaitanya and added to the name given by his sannyas guru. He was therefore known as Swarup Damodar. He compiled a book of music called Sangita Damodar. When anyone wanted to submit a song, a verse, or a book to Sriman Mahaprabhu, they first had to submit it to the examination of Swarup Damodar before it would be heard by the Lord. When Swarup Damodar came from Kashi, he submitted a verse before the Lord, glorifying him. This verse has been recorded by Kavi Karnapur in his Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak as follows. O ocean of mercy, Sri Chaitanya, let that which easily drives away whatever pain we have been experiencing in this material world, that which is all purifying, that which manifests the greatest transcendental bliss, that which by its sunrise cast away all the doubtful conclusions of the Shastra, that which rains rush on our hearts and minds, rules our consciousness, and thus causes jubilation, that all liberating, all auspiciousness giving, the limit of Madhurya Rash, mercy of your mercy of yours, let it arise within our hearts. Srila Sarup Damodar made his dandavats before the Lord, and the Lord embraced him, saying, Today I saw in a dream that you were arriving here. Everything was just right, just as one who is blind becomes happy getting eyes. So I have become happy upon getting you. Sri Swarup Goswami said, O Lord, please forgive me. Forgetting you, I deserted your lotus feet, not having a trace of prema within me. I left your service, and being sinful, I went to a foreign land. But although I abandoned you, you didn't abandon me. By the ropes of your mercy, you have bound me by the neck and dragged me back to your lotus feet. Hearing Swarup Damodar saying these words in great humility, the Lord again embraced him and says, Sri Krishna is very kind. By his mercy, we have met once again. Swarup Damodar always stayed near the Lord. Whatever mood the Lord was in, Swarup Damodar would perform kirtan to augment the Lord's internal sentiments. Around the same time that Swarup Damodar came to Puri, Sri Ramanand Rai arrived from Vidyanagar. Sri Ramanand Rai was a great poet and could explain everything in a very elegant style. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard Rasa Tattva from Ramanand's mouth. In the daytime, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to perform kirtan with his devotees. And at night, in the company of Ramanand Rai and Swarup Damodar, he would relish the truth about the pastimes and mellows of Radha and Krishna. In the same way that Lalita and Vishaka are the internal confidence of Sri Radha, Swarup Damodar and Ramanand Roy are the internal confidence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At the time of Sri Gaura Sundar final pastime, Sri Swarup Damodar was constantly with the Lord, and Sri Swarup Damodar's right hand was Raghunath Das Goswami. So on the second day of full moon in the month of Asart, Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami passed away from this earth and entered into the Lord's unmanifested pastimes. So this is a wonderful descriptions. Now we will dwell in the life of Shivananda Sen. Haribol. On this auspicious day of Jagannath Rath Yatra in Puri, two of Lord Chaitanya's most confidential associates, Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami and Srila Shivananda Sena, left this world to return to the supreme abode. I will go to the life of Shivananda Sena. Shivananda Sena is another confidential associate of the Lord who also assisted him in his pastimes, especially at the time of Puri Rath Yatra. He is one of the important branches of the Chaitanya tree. Shivananda Sene Prabhura Brutya Antaranga Prabhu Stane Yaite Sabe Layena Yandra Shanga. Shivanand Sen, the 24th branch of the tree, was an extremely confidential servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everyone who went to Jagannath Puri to visit Lord Chaitanya took shelter and guidance from Sri Shivananda Sena. Rati Varshe Prabhu Gana Sangate Laiya Nila Chale Na Pathe Palana Kariya. Every year he took a party of devotees from Bengal to Jagannath Puri to visit Lord Chaitanya. He maintained the entire party as they journeyed on the road. Chaitanya Charitamrita explained in Adi Lila, chapter 10, 54-55. So in a purport to the same part of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 1060, which describe Shivananda Sena, Srila Prabhupada writes, quote, Srila Shivananda Sena has been described by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj as follows. Shivananda Sena was a resident of Kumarhatta, which is also known as Halisahara, and was a great devotee of the Lord. About 1.5 miles from Kumarhatas is another village known as Kancha Dapada, in which there are Gaura Gopal deities installed by Shivananda Sena, who also established a temple of Krishna Rai that is still existing. Shivananda Sena was the father of Paramananda Sena, who was also known as Puridas or Kavi Karnapur. Paramananda Sena wrote in his Gaura Ganodesh Dipika 176 that the two of the gopis of Vrindavan, whose former names were Veera and Duti, combined to become his father. Srila Shivananda Sena guided all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya who went from Bengal to Jagannath Puri, and he personally bore all the expenses of their journey. This is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 16, verse 19 through 27. Srila Sivananda Sena had three sons named Chaitanya Das, Ramadas, and Paramananda. As mentioned above, this last son later became Kavi Karnapur and wrote the Gaura Ganodesh Dipika. His spiritual master was Srinath Pandit, who was Sivanand Sena's priest. Due to Vasudev Dutt's lavish spending, Sivananda Sena was engaged to supervise his expenditures. Sri Sivananda Sena actually experienced Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's future of Sakshat Avesh and Avirbhav. He once took along a dog while on his way to Jagannath Puri. And it is described in the Antya Lila, first chapter, that this dog later attained salvation by his association. When Srila Raghunath Das, who later became Raghunath Das Goswami, fled his paternal home to join Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his father wrote a letter to Sivananda Sena to get information about him. Sivananda Sena supplied him the details for which he asked. And later, Raghunath Das Goswami's father sent some servants and money to Sivananda Sena to take care of Raghunath Das Goswami. Once, Sri Sivananda Sena invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home and fed him so sumptuously that the Lord fell indigestion and was somewhat sick. This became known to Sivananda Sena's eldest son, Chaitanya Das, who gave the Lord the kind of food that would help his digestion, and thus Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased. This is also described in Antya Lila 10th chapter, verse 142 through 151. Once, while going to Jagannath Puri, all the devotees had to stay underneath a tree, without the shelter of a house or even a shed. And Nityanand Prabhu became very angry, as if he were greatly disturbed by hunger. Thus, he cursed Shivananda's son to die. Shivananda's wife was very much aggrieved at this, and she began to cry. She very seriously thought that since her son had been cursed by Nityanand Prabhu, certainly they would die. When Sivananda later returned and saw his wife crying, he said, "Why are you crying? Let us all die if Sri Nityanand Prabhu desires." When Sivananda Sena returned and Srila Nityanand Prabhu saw him, the Lord kicked him severely, complaining that he was very hungry and asked why he had not arranged for his food. Such is the behavior of the Lord with his devotees. Srila Nityanand Prabhu behaved like an ordinary hungry man, as if completely dependent on the arrangement of Sivananda Sena. A nephew of Sivananda Sena's named Shrikant left the company in protest of Nityanand Prabhu's curse and went directly to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri, where the Lord pacified him. On that occasion, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu allowed his toe to be sucked by Puridas, who was then a child. It is by the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he could immediately compose Sanskrit verses. And during the misunderstanding with Sivananda's family, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered his personal attendant Govinda to give them all the remnants of his food, and this is described also in Antyalila, chapter 12, verse 53. So, as Swarup Damodar Goswami is considered to be the incarnation of Lalita Devi, the direct expansion of Srimati Radharani, and one of her most confidential gopi friends, Shivananda Sena, is considered to be the incarnations of the two gopis of Vrindavan in Krishna Lila. In Lord Chaitanya's pastime, Shivananda Sen played the part of a householder. He was very concerned for the welfare of all the devotees, and every year he would make the arrangement for the devotees to travel from Bengal to Jagannath Puri during the rainy season to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He took care of them in every respect. He would arrange for their transportation, accommodations, and prasadam. Although they mainly walked when they came to rivers that they had to cross by boat, he would pay the tolls and taxes. And from his example, we can understand the importance of service to the Vaishnavas. Sivananda Sena pleased Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the greatest extent just by being a humble servant of the Vaishnavas. Not only by being a humble servant, but by being expert in his service of taking care of them and pleasing them. So Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila, chapter 1 begins by describing how all the devotees departed together for Jagannath Puri, and they assemble in Navadvip, offered respect to Sachimata, and then they prepare to leave. So this is a most auspicious day. Great personality disappear. So we pray at the Divine Lotus feet to bless us, so we can also imbibe some of the wonderful qualities that they exhibited to please Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we have some time, so I think let's dwell in the Srimanaha Siksha, splendid instruction to the mind by Raghunath Das Goswami. We are currently on verse number 6 and commentary by Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj. I'm feeling much better than yesterday. Krishna is so kind. When we take up the path of bhakti, it is like fire rapidly burning up all our impurities. The holy name can almost immediately cleanse the human heart of all sins. But there is something very significant preventing this, and it is offenses. If we commit them while taking up the path of bhakti, these offenses deprive bhakti of its power. We practice bhakti, but instead of purifying us, bhakti can sometimes contaminate us. This seems paradoxical, but that situation is exactly what Raghunath Das Goswami is writing about here. We are bathing in urine and therefore are not getting cleaner, but dirtier. If we were bathing in the ocean of nectar, there would be no problems. We would get clean very soon. The problem is that we start bathing in the donkey urine of our own deception. which is the urine of the offense we are committing. That's the reason our hearts grow hard. Bhakti is supposed to be soften our heart, which the acharyas compare to butter. This is one thing we have to remember. Accept the things that comes in our life. Krishna always does good and never try to put a finger towards someone else. And never engage in criticize anyone who are way. So stay away and you will see how blissful our devotional practice will become. Love makes a person very sympathetic. A loving person will never hurt those they love. Therefore, Prahlad says, Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. When a person attains bhakti, immediately all the best qualities emerge. Bhakti itself is what makes a person marvelous and very attractive. But he also says that if people have no bhakti, then their minds are always fixed upon or attached to external thing. In the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is another very important verse, 3:19:36. It says, this verse says that it's very easy to worship Krishna. Aradhyam means to worship, and Sukham means very easily and joyfully. Those who can easily worship him are called Rajabi. Those who have a simple heart, two instructions that they have given, simplicity and determination. These two is very important in our bhakti. Ananya Saranay Nirbi, the exalter exclusively of Krishna. Krita Jana, they have a grateful heart. This is a very important word in this verse. A simple heart means a grateful heart. If the heart is grateful, we will do anything for the one we love. If we are grateful to Krishna, who has given us everything, we will do anything for Krishna. But then it is said, Durha Radhyam Asadhubhi, but if person are asadhu and their hearts are defiled above all by deception, Duraradhyam, it is very difficult for them to worship Krishna. Obstacles will naturally arise in the process of worshiping Krishna. So since we have taken up the path of bhakti, we have this unfortunate possibility of committing offenses, primarily using bhakti for our own purposes. We forget, and this is the very beginning of the mistakes people make at first. We forget that bhakti is a goal in itself. Bhakti is not the means to achieve something else. It is not that we need something else, such a material prosperity or liberation, and that is why we practice bhakti. Bhakti is the goal. But when we start using bhakti as the means for our own prosperity, we are deceiving Krishna, and thus we are committing an offense. This is the offense that lives in our heart. We want something for ourselves. At the same time, in pursuit of transient benefit, we lose our eternal benefit. So there are two fundamental principles which help us to keep our bhakti pure. Those are respect and gratitude. In the traditional Vedic system, a person is taught very consistently to respect their elders, to respect all living beings, and to be grateful. When a person has these two simple qualities, it is easier to practice bhakti. Otherwise, obstacle will arise. Trunod api sunichena taror api hasana. Amanina manadena kirtaniya sadhare. That's the verse. The mind is programmed to enjoy by feeling its superiority over others. We can say this desire to feel superior over others is the operating system of the mind. When a person takes up the spiritual path, the same program continues to function, and we will try to prove our priority over other Vaishnavas. And in due course of time, over our Guru and eventually over Krishna. In the mind, there is a very clear algorithm for proving its superiority over others. In order to do this, it must see the fault of others. This is how the mind works independently of us. And we do not need to force the mind to look for this fault. It will find them itself. So Jiva Goswami explained that as a result of this desire for superiority, a person seems to be outwardly worshipping the Vaishnavas, the spiritual masters and the sadhus and Krishna, while inside disrespect for them is appearing. Such a person starts looking for material qualities in them so they can feel superior. They look at the Vaishnavas and see them as non-Vaishnavas. They do not see the essential quality of a Vaishnava and how rare they are. How many people really strive for God or are ready to give up something for His sake? But all we are perceived bad qualities. So one more paragraph. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls the anarthas that grow along with bhakti upashak. Upa means secondary and saka means branch. In tropical countries, parasite species grow on the horse trees, sucking out the juice of the original tree until it dries out. The same happens to us. If we project the material tendencies that are within us onto the sphere of bhakti without trying to hinder them, then eventually these material tendencies grow stronger and completely destroy our bhakti. So we should stop here. The time has come. The devotees may have to engage in other activities, but before they leave, we would like to offer our humble obeisances at the dusk of the lotus feet to be kind to all of us, to join in giving their kind association. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripasindhuvaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So thank you very much.